We've talked a little bit about getting money quickly, and that speed many times is the name of the game, or to secure deals to get them closed. In real estate, I know I'm thinking of auctions in particular, commissioner sale auctions, or just online or in person auctions. A lot of times you've got to put down money the day of the auction and be prepared to close within 10 days. Sometimes it's 30, but sometimes it's 10 days.
Yep.
So you talked about that 10-day time frame. And you said investors can go to, KentuckyPL.com to kind of submit their deal. I hate to call it pre-approved, but just do a little, submit the information to you. And you guys work with seasoned investors. I've heard you work with newer investors that have a good deal, or newer investors that partner with someone that's seasoned to kind of hold their hand and help them, be accountable and make sure the deal is profitable.
Yep.
But have you seen any examples recently where you guys have stepped in and helped save a deal because someone didn't have the money to get it done with cash, or they were trying to go through bank financing and it took so long, or they're waiting and waiting and waiting and need more documents, and then you guys stepped in and got it done quick?
Yeah. That happens a lot because I think, and to kind of give some context before I get into it, there's multiple ways to fund a deal, right? We all know that. We're one of those many ways. And so, these stories aren't intended to, shed any negative light on traditional funding options or things like that. But we do, I think, just inherently, if someone is typically using traditional financing and there's an issue there, then we're like that next call, right? Because they're like, well, hey, maybe these guys can get something done. A recent example, we got approached by a realtor that we had funded some deals for his clients in the past. He kind of got to see how we operate and enjoyed doing business with us. So he reached out to me and was kind of like, hey, I don't know if there's anything that can be done, but I've got this guy. He's been under contract for like 8 weeks already. He's working with a traditional lender. I forget if it was a mortgage broker, some type of more traditional funding. And he's like, they're just running us through the ringer. Like, we've been through this process for 8 weeks already. And now all of a sudden they're telling us we need to get a second appraisal on the property, even though the property as is appraised for about the total project cost, what he's buying it for and what he needs to rehab it, not even looking at the after repair value. And he just kind of said, hey, I don't know if there's anything you can do, but if there is, it's a 6-unit property. It's in Old Louisville. I'm trying to help my guy out because we've extended twice now. I don't know that we can extend a third time. I don't want him to lose this opportunity. So we stepped in, and that was a scenario where we already had an appraisal that we could use to give our appraiser and let him kind of bless it that like, hey, this is a good appraiser, which helped, as a good appraisal. So that helped, make sure that we felt secure about the appraised value, but also speed up the timeline because they're in kind of a panic crunch. I met with the investor, the realtor's client. He was really, really strong, works as an actuary, as his day job. So, actually strong financially, also had some experience in real estate investing as well. And the property was actually next door to his primary. So like the whole motive behind it was like, hey, it's a good investment, but also I want to make sure there's a nice 6-unit asset right next to where I live. So in that instance, we were able to come in and not only approve the deal for him and get it done. I think we got that one done within like 7 days because we had.
So 8 weeks or less than 8 days. So if you get your choice, I was going to ask how quick, but that's great. You got it done. He said, no.
Needed his scope and all of that on like the 13th or something like that. So we were able to, come in and help them get the funding they needed. On top of that, because he was going the more traditional route, another difference and kind of advantage working with a lender like us or other private or hard money lenders, usually there's not as big of a down payment requirement. So, when he brought the deal to me, he's like, hey, I was already planning on putting 20% down on purchase. Well, you guys know, like we very rarely ask for 20% down on any deal. So not only could we get it done for him, get it done in a very efficient manner, but also he had to bring bring less money to closing than what he was, planning to with the other financing. So, yeah, it's a good example of, where we can really bring value to investors and, get stuff done for them that maybe they're running into trouble with other.